Got blunt?
Got weed?
Man, that shit smell good as hell, dog.
Ladies and gentlemen, right before I almost dropped my bomb, that could have been disaster. We are back for another episode of Weed the People. I'm your host, James Curry.
And I'm Anthony LaFerrara.
We got
How you
episode 2
doing?
for you. Episode 2, we're super pumped. Episode 1's not even out yet. We finally got our logo. Shout out to President-elect Catalyst. I think that's how we say it.
Oh yeah,
for
the
making
logo is fire. It's unbelievable.
flames.
Thank you so much.
Fuego. Really appreciate it. It really came out better than I ever expected. So shout out to him. Go give him a follow, and anybody that wants to get any graphic design work done, go check him out and give him a DM and tell him.
We'll put the link down below.
Yeah, we'll put the link. The guy's a legend. Shout out to my man. But man, I'm really excited to talk about today's content because me being a bud tender out here in Vegas, I learned a lot of things about people and how they view marijuana and how they view pot. And I think it's very important, especially with a lot of states starting to legalize and go that route. There's going to be dispensaries opening up left and right.
Yeah, and it's becoming more normalized.
Yeah, it's like there's now, like, I think there's 67 or 68 dispensaries in Las Vegas alone.
Wow, really?
Yeah, there's a lot, dude. There's so many. There's like one every mile. It's unbelievable.
Do you have a favorite?
Out in Vegas, my favorite, I like Cultivate a lot. I like Planet 13's an experience. If you come to Vegas, you gotta go to. It's like the Apple Store for weed.
Well, now what for you would make you say like or dislike a dispensary?
Well, it's just the experience. It's really, and
just the vibes,
and what brands and what not what brands, but what cultivators that they carry. Because
I don't like when they make it a very medical, like cold experience. I'm not very fond of that.
I agree.
Yeah.
The dispensary I worked at, you walked in, it was like there was a green room, like it was like a big lounge, like with nice, like circular sofas and some cool pictures and TVs going with the menu.
Now, is that really, like for people waiting or just
for the waiting
hanging
room,
out?
Yeah, it was like a big waiting room, and there was like a bunch of pamphlets and stuff like that. Because out here you have to be at the time you had to be let into the back room because it was so small. I think they opened it up since I left, because I haven't been back. It's so they were so expensive. The dispensary I worked at, Bloom, they were so OD expensive for everything. So, but there's a lot of dispensaries that carry a lot of the same cultivators, and I think that's the most important thing to touch on. So a lot of people, they get caught up on strain names, and I think I see this all over the cannabis community. They get so hyped up on a strain name, and we were talking before the show. Now there's so many different strain names, and they're so exotic and so out there, like Alaskan Thunderfuck, and everything is crossed with everything at this point.
When I was a kid, it was like, what do you got there? Oh, it's dank.
Yeah, I got some Sour D. I got some Piff. Like when we were growing up, it
skunk,
was,
or we called there's stuff we just called hydro just because it was grown
some
in
dro,
a hydroponic
absolutely,
setup.
Absolutely some dro. That was some old school East Coast stuff. Like you go out west, you don't know that stuff, but absolutely, you got some dro, and then it became it was a good
so
old
technically days. most of the stuff now, like anything that's grown in a hydroponic setup, would be dro. So
yep. Well,
we had this stuff we would call Quebec hydro.
OG just means ocean grown. Like it just means like,
I know a lot of people think it means original gangster. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's ocean grown.
Ocean grown.
It's it's a lot of the growing. There's so many different growing techniques, but that plays right into my point, is that people get so caught up on these strain names. Like certain people, like, oh, I love Jack Herrera. That's my favorite strain. I love that strain. And anywhere they go, if they see Jack Herrera, they're buying it just because it says Jack Herrera on it. And that's a fatal mistake for pot smokers, because it doesn't really, the strain names don't really matter. They don't really mean shit. It's really just to catalog everything. It really comes down to the cultivator. It comes down to the grower who's growing the plant. I noticed out here very quickly that there was a lot of this, like, the very popular strains like Blue Dream.
Hmm.
Um, you have the Northern Lights, the Sour Diesels. Everybody grows those.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own strain of Sour D and Blue Dream, and because they know they're going to sell just because of the name, the name value
Right.
that it has. So everybody grows it. But if you're not a good cultivator, which most honestly, unfortunately, out here the cultivators are kind of ass. They're not really that good.
I mean, not
Um,
everybody has a green thumb, and just because you take a little plant in a clone or you plant a
it's
seed
I
doesn't
think it's
necessarily mean it's going to come out good. I mean, you see people over here that have gardens. You know, some people grow shitty tomatoes. They get
oh
like
yeah,
two or three on this lanky, stretch out looking vine, and then you got other people that they can't give enough away, and they don't
yeah,
even know what to do with them
because
all.
they grow so many. Oh man, I miss
Yeah.
Jersey tomatoes, dude.
And
Jersey
oh,
tomato
out there,
sauce.
yeah, they're
Oh,
great. But also, also other than the cultivator, it's how it's grown, right? If it's in a hydroponic setup versus
well,
like
that's the cultivator.
soil.
That's
Yeah.
the cultivator because, um, you know, one of my favorite cultivators out here is Cannabiotics, and I'm actually smoking some of their bud right now. Shout out to them, Cannabiotics Las Vegas. They used to follow our WPR USA account until it became a political account because it used to be a weed account.
Yeah.
But shout out to those guys. They actually do a really good job. They grow some really good bud, but they had at the time there was Cannabiotics and there was they were growing a strawberry lemonade flower, and it
Hmm.
was gorgeous. It was such a beautiful, so many trichomes. It looked really really pretty. And then there was Flora Vega, and I haven't really smoked much Flora Vega in a long time, but from what I've heard, they've gotten better. But they used to be boof. They used to be ass, like really really bad.
Why?
And
Like what about it?
it was just and it just wasn't as good. It didn't test as well. It didn't have as good
Like
terp.
looking at it, could you tell the difference?
Definitely, you could look at the two and you could tell one was a beautiful a top shelf strain, and the other one just looked like regular bud that you get
Now
on the
how?
street.
What was the
So,
difference that you would notice?
I would notice the colors, the trichomes, the hairs, the way that
Well, for
the
someone who it's their first time, getting into this, going to the dispensary, what the hell is a trichome?
so I know it's so crazy that we talk about these things so simple, like we make it seem like it's so simple. It's really
Yeah.
science. Like when you really think about what we talk about, a lot of these things are like science. um it's really wild to think about. But a trichome are those little white speckles that you see
Hmm.
on the bud, on the flower itself. And if you actually zoom in, it's like actually a stalk with a little clear ball on the top. And
Yeah.
that's, huh?
I have a little mini microscope, and when you look at the bud really closely, you can see it. It's pretty crazy. They start off clear, and then as the plant matures, they start turning like an opaque,
Yep.
and then they even go over to like an amber hue.
Sometimes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But a lot of the THC, a lot of the cannabinoids, the CBD, the CBN, all of these cannabinoids, there's dozens of cannabinoids in the plant. Um, they're found in those trichomes.
Hmm.
That's where a lot of that is found. And when you grind up your bud in your grinder, and you got the little catch, the keef catch at the bottom. That's really the trichomes. That's why it's so concentrated.
Hmm.
Um, those are really the trichomes just falling off and breaking off because they're very fragile. Like you really got to be very delicate when you're handling bud. Like if you're just like hands all over it, you're gonna just ruin it. You're gonna ruin all the trichomes. You're gonna
Yeah,
get
don't
rid
they
of all that
handle it
flavor.
like with pinchers or like chopsticks a lot of
It,
times? Like if you're a bud
everything's
tender?
pre-packaged in Vegas. It's
Oh yeah,
stupid. Everything is pre-packaged in Vegas, and they like
because I feel like I've seen bud tenders handle like a giant jar and get some
some states.
chopsticks, right?
Colorado was like that.
Okay.
Colorado was like that. There's one place out here called Zen that they got grandfathered in from when they were medicinal. They're allowed to do
Uh,
that, but it's
really
very
like an
yeah,
apothecary.
it's very unfortunate because they don't really let you smell like the bud that let you smell. It's been sitting in the
I know it's
shells
very
for
important.
days. It's very very important because that's how you really like. Just like when you're drinking wine and you
Yeah,
want to
I mean
smell
you
the
don't know if it's dried out.
well, everything is in Vegas. Everything is dried out, and that's the
Yeah,
unfortunate thing. That is what I have the biggest issue with: is the dispensaries do not store the bud properly.
I use the humidity packs.
they just throw it in a closet, a lot of them, with a big humidifier, and then they keep things shelved so they could sell their stock rather than putting it out fresh.
Yeah.
And a lot, they just let it sit there, and the amount of expired weed that goes to waste, and they have to throw it
Yeah, and
out.
you it getting exposed to UV light's no good either. So it's sitting on a shelf for a long time. It's terrible.
It's terrible. They do not store it properly.
No,
It's really unfortunate, especially out here in Vegas, where the climate is so dry. The bud dries out so quickly. Everything is dust out here. There's no
that
like,
sucks.
yeah, there's the bud. That's why I have such an issue with the bud out here. Like, I'd rather go to California, pick up in
Now
Cali.
you don't think you can effectively kind of reconstitute it in a way?
What do you mean?
Add the moisture back in. So for example, I have these little jars, and a lot of times when I get bud, it tends to be dried out. And in the jars, it has a wooden top. I can go grab one if you want. It's got a wooden top with a rubber seal, and it's almost like a big flat cork, and it goes into the glass jar. And inside of that wooden top, there's a slot, and in the slot, I stick these 62% humidity packs.
Yeah, I
Like,
use those too.
yeah, like if you were a cigar smoker or
Yeah,
something, you would use those. And that pack will either absorb humidity if the relative humidity in the container is over 62, or it'll release humidity if it's under 62. And so it keeps it balanced at 62.
yeah, but once
So
it's
after I
dried out,
get this, but after I get these delivered, it's better. Yeah, it's better, but it's not perfect, right? It's not like if it had been kept primo, like from the get go.
um, I mean, it should be, it should be stored properly.
Are you
Uh,
doing weed, James?
are y- are you doing weed? Are you doing the marijuana? No, of course I am, Anthony. No, this Kush Mountains by Cannabiotics is actually pretty damn. It's dry. It's dry as fuck. But it's 23.33% THC. It's got a ton of myrcene. It's got a ton of carotene. There's a ton of limonene. We're gonna talk about that later in the episode,
Now are
about
they?
the terpenes, because that's a really important aspect
Oh,
of the plant.
yeah. Well, now would they are they nervous? Like if you they kept it in too tightly sealed of a container, are they worried some of these growers that it starts to develop mold because the
That
moisture
happens.
can't
No,
escape,
that happens.
and
That
then they can't sell it,
Yeah, they
of
can't sell that.
course.
They can't sell it. Like, the packaging is it's like a plastic fucking
Yeah, it's not
bottle.
airtight.
No, it's not airtight at all. There's a seal on the top, but even still, it's
Yeah,
everything is prepackaged. Everything is prepackaged. It's crazy. I hate it. You can't smell anything. Like, they put the bud out there to smell with these little sniff jars, but they've been using the same bud literally for weeks on end. So that's lost its smell. It's lost. It's dried out. It's terrible. I haven't really. Colorado was pretty cool. They did a pretty good job. The you were able to smell and sniff the bud, and
hmm
um really take a good look at it. But out here, it's not so good. But a lot of people get, like I was saying earlier, they get caught up on these strain names, and they get caught up on the names that the bud is given, and that's something that you're gonna end up thinking that you're getting something good, and you're really going to get ass. Um, if the cultivator is not good, if they're even average, like, the saying is, it's easy to grow weed. It's really difficult to grow really good weed. Like, it's literally a science, and the
yeah.
growing
Well, it's also an art
yes, absolutely,
for sure.
100%, 1000%.
Yeah, it's like
When
that fine mix, the
you,
fine balance between science and art. I think.
1,000%. And
Yeah.
there's some really good growers out here. None of them are really working in the dispensary. I met a couple of them. I'm gonna try to get one on the show. My man, he's trying to grow the first ever high THC, high CBD strain, which would be phenomenal. And
Yeah,
he's
that
been
sounds awesome.
working on it. And he's like a scientist. Like, he literally is like a scientist. This guy, he's unbelievable. His grow is beautiful. But it's a slippery slope that people get caught up on, and you're gonna end up smoking shit weed just because it has the strain name that you like.
hmm
um and you're gonna buy boof, you're gonna buy dirt, and it happens all the time.
And so,
Hearing
what do you
people
think?
come in.
Like someone like would find a strain that they like, let's say, because they smoked it from a great grower, and then they find that strain somewhere else from a different grower. They smoke it and they're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, oh, maybe I don't like this as much as I thought I did. That's probably what they would think.
Yes and no. The placebo effect is very real. Like you're like, oh,
Yeah,
this
that's
is my
true.
favorite. This is my favorite. So like in your head, like because this is your favorite, you're gonna think that you're fucking blasted. I keep cursing. This is so bad. Monetization goodbye. But it's it's something that a lot of uh veteran pot smokers get caught up in. Oh, what's this strain? Oh, what's that strain? Oh, I want. Do you have this? Nah, dude. Like it's it
So
could
if that's not important, what is more important than when you're trying to determine,
so
what strain to choose?
so in my opinion, a lot of people in the community's opinion that really study the plant, they would say that's because of the terpenes, the way the plant was grown and the terpenes. That plays a huge role in the way you feel when you smoke weed. Um,
Now, going back to your, you know, topic on different growers, right? Let's say we gave the same genetics to two separate growers.
Same
Okay.
seeds. Yes.
Yeah. Seeds or a clone from the same plant, even.
Yes.
Right. So, would the terpenes in each
They would kind
plant
of
be the same but have different levels?
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Eh,
Okay.
Probably, yeah. That would be my guess. It would, um, they're going to have two different growing techniques. They're going to
Different
do,
amounts of THC, different amounts of,
yep, different.
I don't know, CBD,
There's
CBN,
so
whatever.
many different variables that could change the way that the plant grows.
Hmm.
And there's so many things that could go wrong, that, and if
Yeah.
you're not an
Pests, right?
pests,
Like,
mites, yeah, all that stuff. Mold, like they get moldy very easily, or you get a male in there with the females and it contaminates all the like there's so many things that if you're not an experienced grower, you're gonna uh run into those issues. And it happens all the time. It happens to even experienced growers where crops get ruined. Not as often, obviously, but it happens. So you could have two different growers and the same seed, it'll come out totally different. The plants will look
yeah.
different, they'll smell different, and they'll be different. There'll be different outcomes. I had my girl's brother came over the other day. She's like, "Yo, this is my boy's stuff. He's got two of the very same genetic coming from two different plants. They both smell different." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that happens all the time. Like something he did during the grow process was a little different for one than it was for the other.
Hmm.
It happens all the time, and it was a noticeable difference. They looked very similar, but the smell was a noticeable difference. Um, it happens all the time. So now put that with big time cultivators and the bud that you're smoking at the dispensary, and you're gonna see major differences. So you see these strain names, and you're like, "Oh, I love that strain," and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna buy it because it has the strain. You're gonna like cue DJ Khaled. Congratulations, you just played yourself. Like you're gonna be smoking some dirt. Like, oh, I got the weed. Just because it's from a dispensary doesn't mean it's like top shelf weed. Like it's good weed. Like they sell dirt. They sell mids all
It's a,
day at these
I guess in
dispensaries.
the end, right? It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business, and that's the problem with what's going on in the cannabis, and especially out here in Vegas. It's very you have to be connected.
Corporatized.
Yeah, it's very you got to be connected. Like you're
Yeah.
not. It's not um grassroots. It's not the
I
people that are
think
in the
that maybe
community.
as time goes on though, that'll change. Like I'm talking years and years.
Yes, yes, I agree. It'll become more like a traditional business, whereas
Right.
where everybody can get involved and start a business like a mom and pop
Because we're
shop.
still in that weird stage where we're transitioning from, the reefer madness dare era into
Gateway
it's
drug.
acceptable, and it's actually one of the things I've loved, and I think I came up with this over the years, is that as far as I know, I mean, there's plenty of people I've heard of that, alcohol or gambling or drugs really like tore that family apart. But I don't know of anyone who was ever like, wow, weed sure tore that whole family apart, man.
I think Joe Rogan did that in a comedy
Did
sketch.
he?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. But no, you're absolutely right. When is weed like did that in the film? Actually, in the South Park game on PlayStation or Xbox, I think it was a fractured butthole was the name of the game. It
Really?
might have been the Stick of Truth. It might have been the first one, but the father in your character that you create, because you create a character and you're now inside of an episode of a long episode of South Park
Oh
and you're
shit,
playing.
really?
It's
That's
it's
cool.
so cool. It's such a great game. Um, but the father's addicted to weed, and like it's a big problem when the mother and father fight, and it's like a big parody how South Park does it. It's
Hmm.
fucking great, and like it'll never happen. Like when is a father smoked a ton of weed and was like, I'm gonna go and beat my kids and beat my wife, like
No, never. It's
yeah,
funny too because the the more that you consume cannabis and over the period of time, the more your brain really does change. You do think a lot differently.
oh, I
And I
agree.
think it really does. I don't know if it opens different neural pathways or you know, increase or decrease in certain neurotransmitters. I'm not really sure exactly how it works, but
No,
I
we're
do
not.
know that your thinking opens up and you're able to think in ways that you were not able to before, and you see things from different perspectives.
Oh, without a doubt,
Yeah,
without a doubt, it is to sit here and say it's not a mind altering substance. That'd be a lie.
that's a flat out lie.
That's a lie. Like
Well,
anyway,
not all of the cannabinoids are mind altering.
no, no. But to sit here
I
and
think
say
it's
that,
really mainly THC, right?
yeah,
Is the
mainly THC.
psychoactive.
Yes, yes, is
Yeah.
the psychoactive. But see, people get they're like, oh, I want to smoke some CBD or I want to get some CBD, and they fail to realize, like for me, CBD is great. It's a phenomenal compound, but CBD works its best for me and my body with a little THC on top of it. I get the
I
medicinal.
think everything works a little bit better with a little THC on
I,
top of
I
it.
I agree, but no, you feel the medicinal effects a lot better, in my opinion, from the CBD with at least a little bit of THC. Like I like CBD a lot. I think it's a
Mhm.
phenomenal thing for a lot of people. But to get the full benefits of the CBD plant, you want to add a little THC to that, and it'll
To the
really,
party.
yeah, it'll really boost the effects of the CBD.
I like these CBD gummies that have melatonin in it, and if I'm having trouble sleeping or whatever,
That's
eat a
probably sick.
couple of those. Yeah, and they're
You
great.
knock out. Where'd you get those? I gotta get those. So,
My gym.
oh, very nice. Shout out
Yeah,
to your
they're
gym.
great. Yeah,
Sh-
Top Shelf Fitness. Oh no, Top Shelf PMA.
yeah, Top Shelf PMA because
Yeah,
they're a PMA. Those guys
I
know
am.
that.
I'm blown the f out, man. Every time I go in there,
Oh, I bet you are. I bet.
pumping iron
That's the only way to
on
work out,
Mars.
dude.
Yeah.
That's the bro. We used to train and go and beat the hell out of each other, and half of us would be stoned out of our minds while we're
Hmm.
just beating the hell out of each other at pro practice. Like it was a
There's
different.
nothing like it.
Nah. Like you don't think Usain Bolt's not smoking a fat blunt before he goes and practices? Like you think that
Just the fastest man on earth,
yeah,
at least at one point.
Michael Phelps never got stoned before he went to practice? Like you really
Yeah,
think
but you have to be at a certain level, both in the activity that you're participating in and in your cannabis use. If either of those are not spot on, you probably maybe going to enjoy yourself, but you're going to have a terrible time. So what I'm saying is, if you're not an expert MMA or in jujitsu and you're just starting out and you get really fucking stoned, you're probably not going to do
no, yeah.
that well, right?
Absolutely.
Or if you're good at jujitsu, but you never smoke pot and you get really stoned before you go, you're also not going to do very well.
No.
You
Neither of
have to
those.
be in you have to be in that sweet spot. I've thought a lot about this, trust me.
You really do though. You
Yeah, I
have
have a
to
lot of anecdotal
well,
research.
that's the problem. And that's another thing that I want to talk about with people coming into dispensaries because a lot of dispensaries in places that we grew up, like in New Jersey, are going to start popping up everywhere. And there's states that are going to start popping up and
Oh, we
legalizing
have
it
like
more.
60 some odd towns that have already banned
Yeah, no,
cannabis
I
in their
know.
towns.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Um, but they're still going to show up. It does that's they're still going to
Yeah,
pop
well,
up.
they can't ban delivery service or whatever, but yeah, they're going to be in the town right, right next door.
Yeah,
So
it's stupid. It's so dumb, and they're just missing out on business, and especially the shore towns. Like that's so much business.
yeah,
Like that's
almost
gonna
all of them.
that's gonna bring business to them all year round to
Guess
those
what? The
areas.
one that says, "Yeah, come on in," is gonna boom.
Oh yeah, they're gonna crush. And then like in
Yeah,
Colorado, there's places in Colorado that opted out, and now they're out. They're like, oh shit, like we
yeah,
fucked up, and
yeah.
we're
We missed the
opting.
gravy train.
We're opting in now. Sorry guys, we're
Sorry, we
allowing.
didn't realize that more money was better.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah,
realize,
we didn't realize that. We thought we didn't like extra funds.
but
And I think
oh,
it's good that, you get those money goes into all different kinds of public programs. But yeah,
they should be. Yeah,
they feel
absolutely.
stupid now.
Yeah, they feel so dumb. But a lot of people come into dispensaries, and at least out here in Vegas, not it is Sin City. People come out here. You can get hookers and prostitutes and do wild man things out in Las Vegas. It's an adult playground.
But yeah, but cannabis is not that, in my opinion.
So no, but when
But people think of it
here,
as that.
people think of Las Vegas just as that. Like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas,
Mhm.
and it's a very big tourism place. Like a lot of people come here and they visit. It's a it's a destination vacation all the time. People are here all year round. You come to Vegas, you're like, oh, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I've never smoked weed. I'm gonna go to the dispensary because it's legal here. I could go do that. Like that's fine. So they go to the dispensary for the first time, and you have like a lot of people smoke weed. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
I would say the majority, like we said in the last episode, the majority of the country smokes weed. I would say it's over 50% that smokes weed in this country. But there's still so many people that have no idea. Even the people that do smoke weed or have smoked weed, they don't on a regular basis, and they don't have any knowledge or any information about what
Yeah.
the plant is. And a lot of people come in, they're like, oh, I don't want to smoke. I don't really like smoking, so I'm gonna get an edible. And this is the worst mistake anybody could do when they're just starting to dabble in cannabis and and weed. It happens to so many people. Do you know any people that tell me, "Oh, I don't like weed because I ate an edible"?
Yeah.
That's always the story.
Oh, absolutely.
It's never like, "Oh, I smoked a joint and I don't like weed because I got too high." It's like, "Yo, I ate an
I have
edible."
friends that are, regular cannabis users that ate too many edibles or too high of a dose when they had the edibles, and then like, oh no, I can't have that, and like, you know, and then I'm like, well, how much did you have? And then like, yeah, well, we put, I don't know if they said they put an eighth or a quarter into like two brownies or something like that. I'm like, dude, that's like, you know, that's like 500 milligrams per brownie if you used a quarter, or even if you only use an eighth, that's 250 milligrams
Yeah, for an
per
average,
brown,
like
approximately. And no wonder you freaked out.
people don't realize, like the most veteran smokers
They
can.
tripped. They were tripping.
Yeah, it happens all the
Yeah.
time. So a lot of people will go into dispensaries like, I don't like smoking. I'm gonna get an edible. I'm gonna get an edible because I don't want to inhale smoke. And they go buy the edible. And I always ask people, like I would always have conversations with the customers coming in to find out what they were doing, their experiences with weed. Because if they asked for an edible and I knew I could tell that they were new or didn't really know what they were doing and
Yeah.
they were just doing this for the first time or something like that, I would immediately steer them away. I would immediately like, yo, let's take a step back here. And let's, if you don't want to smoke, let's
And
go
what,
over here.
some listened, some didn't?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was
Yeah.
always a suggestion, but I would always tell them, I would be like, listen, like edibles, when you eat them, it releases a different compound that gets broken down in your liver. It starts with a T. I
Hmm.
forget. It's a really long ass fucking word. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna try to pronounce it. Um, but it releases and it basically makes uh the experience feel like you just smoked weed on steroids.
Absolutely.
That's really what it does to in layman's terms. And a
Especially
lot,
when it's in like a cookie or a brownie or something like
yes,
that.
with the
In a
butter,
gummy, I don't think it's quite as
no,
intense.
or like a lollipop or
Yeah.
Jolly Rancher, no. But with the butter and the cookies and
Yeah.
things like that, oh my goodness, it's the fat. Oh man, it really just boosts those.
Yeah, and
cannabinoids.
it stays in your liver longer too.
Yes. Oh, it lasts way longer. So
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of people get caught up in that. And first off, the average individual, like you can give them a 10 milligram edible and they will be blasted. Like they have,
Really,
huh?
really,
Yeah.
that's cute.
If you could give like the non-smoker, someone who doesn't smoke a lot, you can give them 10 milligrams
Which is
and
usually like the dosage of individual gummies. Like
yeah,
right when you get a
yeah.
pack, it's usually that's like kind of the standard.
Yeah, out here, my favorite, like Vegas has a limit on the amount of milligrams on edibles, which I think is stupid. I think that's strictly just to help
Yeah.
the retailers and the companies make more money, because now you just have to buy more. It's just stupid. Just give me a 500 milligram edible. They limit it out here to 100 milligrams, so I don't even buy edibles out here. Like,
Well, when I was out there, I had a bag of like dehydrated pineapple, like candied pineapple, like that. I
yeah,
love that. And it had the whole bag had like 100 milligrams in it. And then when I was about to walk through, airport security, I just ate the whole bag, and then I put I threw the bag out, and I had like like 7 or 8 hours before my flight. Dude, I was sitting there in this big open area, floor to ceiling windows, like just looking at the mountains. The sun was setting. It was crazy. I felt like I was tripping my face off.
so
But that was 100 for me. And that 100, I don't know, whatever it was, like felt like a lot more than I would think. But
no,
tolerance only gone up since then.
it's enough. Like 100 will definitely make me feel a little different. But for me, I like to start at 250. Like my favorite are the punch
Dude,
bars.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's where I
You
like
eat
to
the whole punch bar?
eat the whole punch bar. Occasionally, it gets away
Because
from
it's
me.
delicious.
It is actually really fucking good.
It
If you,
is.
they're so, I love punch bars. But occasionally, it'll get away from. Very, very rarely, 250 milligrams will put me on my ass, and sometimes it will, but very rarely. For the most part, 250 is really, really where I like to start for myself. Um,
Start.
that's where I like to start. Yeah, like edibles.
That's bananas.
If
That's a lot.
I'm gonna
James.
eat edibles, I'm gonna start at 250.
James, I think we have to have a talk.
I think you can eat my asshole. Um,
That's a hard pass.
but no, it's
Or wait,
I.
is that an edible?
It is an edible. Did you ever see those
How?
chocolate
What's the
buttholes?
dosage?
Those
What's the
chocolate
dosage?
buttholes. Um,
Yeah, it's good. 50 milligrams a butthole
yeah,
per balloon knot.
per rusty sheriff's badge. Um, but no, so most people 10 milligrams is enough to start. 25 at most if you're just starting out and you've never really dabbled with marijuana. 25 at most, like just start there and wait 45 minutes to an hour before
I'd
you
go
add
an hour
anything.
and a half, easy.
Yeah, because that's the big issue is they don't know what they're doing. They buy an edible because they don't want to smoke, and they eat a small amount and all of a sudden they're like, um I'm not high. I'm gonna eat some more. And they eat more and they eat more. And all of a sudden they hit a brick wall and they're dead. They're just stuck on the couch and they're so stoned. Like I've eaten edibles to the point where I was so high, I didn't want to be high anymore. I was so stoned. Like I was stuck on the couch. I couldn't speak. I was just like, and
Yeah,
I was
not only that,
just
and then you wake up and you're still stoned.
your body is so
We
groggy.
didn't talk about all this last time, or did we? I just want. Are we repeating ourselves? We probably will repeat ourselves.
Oh, absolutely, dude. We're stoners. We're stoners. So I mean,
And
what
we're
do you
getting old.
expect?
And we're getting older. So
Yeah,
you start telling the same stories over and over.
what do you expect? But
But let's get into the terpenes here, James.
oh, you want to dabble in some terpenes? You want to get in some
Yeah. So before the
science?
show,
Science?
we were talking about like these little prepackaged grams that I got here. I was trying to
Yeah.
get them out of it. And then they said that they have terpenes on the back, but now do I mean some people just associate terpenes with flavor profiles.
Smell and
Now
taste. Yes,
that
which is
is
very true.
which is still correct,
Yes.
right? So it's both flavor profiles and medicinal effects.
So
Is that how you'd categorize it?
there's definitely some medicinal effects to the myrcene, or to the myrcene, to the terpenes, and those who've dabbled with essential oils, they understand this as well, because this is the same effect that essential oils give you.
Ah, I
Like
got you. Okay.
when you put essential oils out, like certain essential oils make you
My
feel
wife
happy.
uses peppermint all the
It
time for her
makes you
stomach.
feel happy and euphoric, and peppermint for absolutely for your stomach. There's a lot of different smells and tastes that your body reacts to, and if you were drinking a glass of wine, it would be the notes in the wine that differentiate the grapes that you're drinking. It's the same exact concept, but there's definitely some medicinal value in things that um, change the way that you smoke. And the best way I could describe terpenes to people when you smoke is, there's a ton of, like, for me, for examples, I lean more towards like indica type buds, where they, kind of give me pain relief, muscle relaxation,
Hmm.
things like that. Because in New Jersey, when it was illegal and I was buying weed on the street, you just got whatever you got. And there was sometimes we'd get sativas, and I loved the sativas. And indicas I never really had the issue with. And like we talked about last week, there's really no indicas and sativas, but you just to get the point out there. So I'd feel really good, uplifted, super euphoric, like I'm floating in the clouds, very good head high, super heady, and I'm
Hmm.
chilling. But then there's some sativas that I'll smoke, and I'm fucking in my head. I'm
Cracked out.
paranoid.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I just don't feel comfortable in my
Yo,
own skin.
ready for this? Bonus question. There's cannabis indica, cannabis sativa. Can you name the third?
Romulus,
Ruderalis, yeah.
yeah,
You're
Ruderalis,
close.
close.
Romulus. Yeah, Romulus and Remus, they founded Rome. Raised by wolves.
I knew it was something like that. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. There's three different types. I think there's a fourth
But you
actually.
don't I think you're right. But you don't really see the Ruderalis much.
No,
But
no,
actually the strain that I grew was crossed from a Ruderalis.
you grew.
Yes.
Oh, very nice. What did you grow in?
Yeah. King Tut, Tutankhamun, because I
Yeah, I
just
was.
wanted a sativa and it was 100% sativa with high THC.
Sativas are so much tougher to grow
Yeah.
than the indica, and that's it came out really good actually. I smoked some of Ant's King Tut. It was actually
Nice.
a really good grow, especially for a first time grow. He did a
Yeah.
fantastic job. Um,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, now that we're more experienced, um, we're gonna come out with some courses in the future on home grows and things like that, for the states that are legal to grow at your house, because New Jersey is not one of them, unfortunately. Neither
No,
is Las Vegas. It's stupid. You can have 6 ounces, but you can't have it on a stem in the ground, or in a pot. Like,
it makes no sense.
no sense whatsoever. None. None
But yet
whatsoever.
it makes perfect
It's all
sense.
about money. It's all about
Yeah.
money. It's all about money. Oh, you can grow your plant at the
It
house
makes no
for
logical sense, but it
pennies on
makes business sense for
for
them.
pennies on the dollar, and you
Yeah.
can have your never-ending supply of the exact strain that you want and grow it exactly how you want, and only get better as you get start doing it. And like, they don't want that. They do not want that. Like, I can understand not wanting like a full backyard of just like a full crop
Yeah,
of
3 to 6 plants
yeah,
per
like
adult.
yes, yes,
You should be
like
able to make enough.
no,
You
per
should be able to grow enough.
even per household, in my opinion, because then,
Well, you
you
should
know,
be able to grow enough per growing season to have it for the whole year. That's how I look at it.
I
If you
agree.
choose not to buy it.
I agree. That's true.
It's like it's like saying you can't grow your own tomatoes. You
Well, then
have to buy your tomatoes from the grocery store.
Lord Farquaad in
No
Michigan
tomatoes.
said that you can't do that. You can't
Yeah,
grow
no
your own
seeds.
no seeds, bitch.
Yeah,
Oh,
and I give you all the seed bearing plants and herbs to use.
so
So they're ours.
yeah, they're ours, for us, for the people, for weed the people.
Hmm.
Um, but it's so terpenes. Back to where we started.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, the packaging.
so
We talked about the flavors, which you explained, but what else?
so terpenes. Everybody um has an endocannabinoid system and receptors for all these cannabinoids. Terpenes are an oil, but it's the same thing. Your body reacts to things and tells you things. Like you like when you smell the bud and you smell things that you like, it's because your body is telling you that you like this. And that's probably a good thing. You probably should smoke that bud, and that's because of the terpene profile in the bud. And every terpene has a different effect. And there's so many. There's thousands. I think there's 20,000 terpenes. There's been a
Wow.
couple. Yeah, there's been a couple hundred found in cannabis plant already. Some way more prevalent than others, but they're still discovering terpenes that are in these plants.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really really wild. And for me, I'd personally like I like a really good terpene profile over with nice THC levels rather than something that's really high in THC and got like no terps. I'd much rather take
Or the wrong terps for you.
or the wrong terps. Yes, and that's what's really great because I always tell people who don't smoke or who smoked and had a bad experience, I'm like, that's probably one because you smoked too much. Two, it wasn't the right terpene profile for you. Like some people's like sativa type terp profiles are not like their daytime heady terp profiles are not the best for everybody. They get in their head, they get
Yeah.
paranoid.
Well, when
And
you look at it from a medicinal perspective, or our traditional pharmaceutical medicines, if you have a stomach ache and instead of taking or eating a Tums, you have an Adderall. I mean, both are considered medicine, right? Um, it's not going to help you at all, and you're going to feel terrible. You can feel absolutely horrible. But both are medicine. So like, just because it's weed or cannabis doesn't necessarily mean it's going to react the way that it did the last time or that time that you really enjoyed it.
but what's really cool is terpenes is basically in every living thing, and this is why a lot of people say to like eat mangoes before you smoke weed to
Hmm.
help enhance the high because of the terps that are
I would
in.
actually put them in my my gummies that I would make.
Yeah, but
Mangoes. Just
but
I feel like it worked in synergy.
it does, it absolutely does.
Yeah. Or
You're
blueberries. I like putting blueberries in them.
though no, but you're absolutely right. Those terps and those fruits are going to only enhance the terps that are in the flower that you're putting in
Hmm.
there and make them more prevalent because you're just adding more terps to the mix because that mango, that blueberry, they have their own terpene profiles. Um, so there's a lot of really common terps in a lot of buds, and there's a lot of that you'll see in almost all of them at different levels. My favorite terp profile personally is, and I'll go into a little bit of each of the major terps that you'll find. But me personally, when I go to the dispensary, it's tough when the black market is still so dominant and you can't really pick and choose and the things aren't tested. Like even in legal states, California, like they're not even at testing everything for terps. Vegas is the first state to really do it, which I found to be one of the coolest things about the state was the testing levels and the
Yeah,
amount
that's
that they put
cool.
in the testing. Most states don't even do it, so you can't even really pick and choose, or not even pick and choose, really find what works best for you. The only way you could do it now is through smell and taste, is to find out what you like the best. Like, oh, I like this, and you recognize what taste and smell that flower had, and you'll
Yeah,
be
that
able to
makes sense.
figure out what terps are in there for the most part. You won't be able to tell you how much of it is in there, or what the difference is, but you'll be able to kind of pick and choose what's in there because they all have their own distinct smells. So like myrcene and limonene are my two, and I really like caraphyllene. Those are my three that
Wow,
I
of
really look for.
course.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, well, obviously those are clearly the best.
Obviously, caraphyllene, James. I mean, that
Obviously,
goes without saying.
I mean, we know this. So so a lot of people think I'm talking gibberish like Ant right now.
Yeah.
Because you've never heard this before. And some people know terps is just the smells and the tastes. And they didn't know, like before I moved to Vegas, that's what I thought terps was just smell and taste. I didn't realize that they actually had medicinal values to it. And there's still so much, don't get me wrong. This needs to be researched even further. This hasn't been researched excuse me, extensively as it should have been or should be at this point. But like, for example, myrcene is like a very earthy smell. When you smoke it, it's gonna smell like cloves. You're gonna really get that smell, but you're gonna get this muscle relaxation. You're gonna get that couch lock that when you smoke, you just feel like your body's nice and relaxed. The
Oh,
aches and pains
myrcene
are,
muscle.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
well,
you
that's
go.
I guess that's a good way to look at it.
That's how I remember a lot of things.
It's really good. It's really good for inflammation and pain. And it's really going to give you that couch lock. So when you smoke and you just like it's stuck in the couch, there's probably a ton of myrcene in that flower, in that actual strain.
Hmm.
It's gonna have those earthy tones, those clove like smells. You'll find it in mango, thyme, lemongrass. You'll find it in all these different real life things. Like if you want to enhance, like that's what I said, if you want to enhance your high, eat some mangoes before you smoke. It'll enhance the high. Or when you're making edibles, like
But
ant
what's the terpene in mangoes?
myrcene.
It is myrcene.
It is
Okay.
myrcene.
Yeah, so you only want to add it, eat mangoes if the myrcene is
Well,
something that you're after,
yeah,
right? Like
yes,
that profile helps you.
yes, but I mean, I mean, it's one of the most prevalent
Yeah.
terps in all
Oh, okay.
marijuana. You're gonna find it in almost everything. It's just how much of it is in there. It's a very it's in a lot, at least out in Vegas, and I'm sure out in Cali it tests the same. It's one of the most prevalent terps in the
Hmm.
marijuana plant. Um, but sometimes there isn't any. So very rarely, but sometimes there isn't
Yeah.
any.
But yeah, so
So
I don't know. I thought it was a good
it'll
idea to put it
you didn't
in
even
the
know,
edibles.
and you
Yeah.
didn't even know you were just
Well,
doubling
no,
up.
I knew that it enhanced, and I knew that it had to do with terpenes, but I didn't know how it really fit together.
You just were experimenting. Your edibles are banging, dude. Those
Yeah.
are
Oh,
delicious.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Maybe
Um,
we'll do a cooking class
we
sometime.
will. We're gonna have to we the people cooking with Anthony. So limonene is some of people's favorite terp. It's where you get that citrusy smell that smells like pine sol. The reason why it smells like
Oh,
pine
okay.
sol is the lemon and the pinene actually. That's where that pine sol comes in. But we'll get into pinene in a second. But that lemony smell, that citrusy, fruity smell that you get from your buds, which you find all the time, you smell it and you're like, wow, that smells like lemon fresh. Um,
Hmm.
it's from the limonene, and that's going to be in all citrusy fruits like lemons, limes, oranges, things like that. You'll find it in rosemary.
Don't hops have that too, right? Like because
Some,
don't.
not all of them. You're going to find mostly carophyllene in hops, but there's going hops definitely have their own terp profile as well. Hops is like a
Mhm.
distant cousin of marijuana.
Yeah, because
Um,
if you've ever just smelled that, it smells
mhm.
very similar to cannabis.
Absolutely. And they some like when you drink those beers that have that lemony citrusy
Yeah.
taste, you're gonna get it from the limonene. The reason why it's not every single beer that has that lemony citrusy taste is because it doesn't have limonene in those hops. But that's
Makes
exactly where
sense.
it's coming from. Absolutely. But limonene is going to give you that uplifting, like that euphoric head high, like you're going to feel
Yeah.
nice and happy and giggly. It's really good for anxiety. And that's why it's one of my like you get that nice body, nice relaxation, but you're also nice and happy and giggly and having a good time.
Hmm.
That's why I really like limonene and carophyllene. You're gonna find in the black peppers and hops, like we said, it's gonna have that spicy, musky smell. Um,
I got you.
you'll have that cloves and cinnamon have it, and it's really good for anti-inflammation.
Hmm.
And that's why
You
I like
got
it
it. You
because
did
yeah, I did it. I can't speak. I can't.
it.
International pressure. Um,
You couldn't resist.
couldn't
You
resist.
gotta inject it
Just a
at least
little,
once,
just yeah,
just a
little,
splat, like
little jab.
Salt Bay.
Yeah, like what's his name from Dodgeball? Um,
Yeah,
Ben Stiller. What was his name from Globo Gym?
I forget.
Um, but that's going to be really good, and also Caroline filing is really good for nervous system. So maybe some people have heard of the story of the girl who was having those really bad seizures, and her parents gave her CBD. Eventually, figured like they tried everything, and the last thing that they tried was CBD, and they ended up creating a CBD line specifically for seizures called
It-
Charlotte's Web. Did you ever hear of that?
yes, yes.
So it's a very famous CBD tincture because of that story, and it does actually really work. But that is very high in carophyllene content because,
That's
uh,
dangerous for your children. You can't give your children drugs like that.
and you can just as long as they're from pharmaceutical companies,
Yeah,
because if they're not from the pharmaceutical companies, they're not okay.
those are safe.
We can pump them full of drugs. Oh, your kid's having a seizure. Here's 60 million pills and things like that to take, and let's save your kid's life and ruin everything else in their
Mm.
body. Um, it's ass backwards.
PTSD. Oh, here you go. Yeah,
Yeah, here's some antidepressants that sometimes may kill you. Like what may
such a
cause
shame.
psychosis. Like you listen to the commercials, it's so ridiculous. Like, and it's just like the softest, like the nicest sounding voice. Like
So,
side effects are
yeah, right. And then they
some,
go on for like 3 minutes,
and
and
then
they're speaking extremely fast.
yeah, and the last one's always like,
And
and
possible death.
sometimes death,
Yeah,
sometimes
what?
death. Uh,
Uh, so
bitch, I
on
have a
the
stomach ache. Like I just don't want to have a stomach ache anymore. I don't want to die.
well, that's one of the best things that cannabis helps with. And I don't, what is the what's the terp that helps with the stomach?
So carafilene is going to really help with the stomach. Absolutely.
I mean, if anyone's ever been like, had a rough night and then the next day there's if you have the right cannabis with I guess the right terps now that I'm learning, there's nothing like it. I mean, it helps
it
like
really
nothing
it.
else.
I'll tell you right now. I smoke not really because I want to get high. Like I could stop smoking and be totally fine. And I honestly want to take a tea break, but the only reason that I continue to smoke on the daily basis is because the benefits for my stomach. I have really bad IBS.
Hmm.
My stomach issues are terrible, and
And I'm sure you've tried other medications.
yeah, I went. I got my first colonoscopy. In my 20s. Um, and it's been a huge issue for me, probably from all the cutting weight and the diet fluctuations from wrestling my entire life or my fight career definitely didn't
Yeah.
help. Um, but I wake up in the morning, even if I eat healthy, my stomach's in knots, and my stomach doesn't feel okay until I smoke. Or like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and my stomach will be in knots, and I'll go and just take a quick bowl pack, and literally night and day difference,
Yeah.
night and day. It's unbelievable. And for the most part, I'm smoking just because it helps with my stomach so much. Even when I'm eating clean, I still have stomach issues.
Hmm.
So that's really what gives me
It's
the most
incredible.
benefit.
It's really incredible.
It is like if I could just smoke CBD and get that same effect, I would. I don't really necessarily need to get stoned. It's a nice side effect sometimes, absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's it's not really why I smoke on a daily basis anymore. It's really because of the stomach relief, and it's because of the cannabinoids and the terpenes and things like that. It's not
For me,
all
I mean,
you,
for me, it helps me focus.
yes,
It helps kind of keep me calm, and because sometimes I can be a little like anxious or amped up, like
yep.
control freak, and like when I can't control absolutely everything, then I get kind of
I get anxious all the time too.
yeah,
Like I hate being
and
a
so
passenger in a car.
yeah,
I hate
I
it.
mean
I
it
hate it.
helps. It helps tremendous with that, and as far as when I train and consume cannabis, whether I smoke or I eat an edible or something, man, like the mind muscle connection is outrageous. It's like it's something that I'm sure most people will never experience in their lives. But the way that you can, and I train usually, like a bodybuilder style, um,
Well, you competed,
split and
so
whatnot. I did, yeah, once.
you were
And I'll
yoked
do it
out of your
again
mind.
maybe in a couple years. Yeah, I was too skinny, but
You
I
were
didn't have a
still
coach.
you
I
were
did it
still
all.
yoked, dude. You were
Oh yeah,
shredded.
I
I
was
was so
shredded,
it's
but
like
I
who the fuck
overdid
is
it. I overdid the cardio and
who the
like,
fuck is this?
yeah, I needed someone to say like, "Yo, stop doing cardio and eat some more carbs." But because I just go crazy. I overdo it, and but yeah, it helps. It helps with keep.
Recovery. I
Yeah.
mean,
So okay, yeah, that's where I was going. So the mind muscle connection that I don't think most people ever even experience, and like I said, I do like a bodybuilding type workout. You can literally put your brain inside of the muscle that you're training and focus solely on the movement of that muscle, and you can almost like adjust how much other muscles are working, because you can actually you're actually conscious of it. You're conscious of something that is normally a subconscious process, I guess. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but like if you're doing squats and you're trying to concentrate on maybe your hamstrings, you can feel yourself like in a, I don't know, it's like where you can get your body into the right position
It's
to where you feel the right stretch, you feel the stretch in the right area, you feel the contraction in the right area, and you're not feeling it in the wrong areas. Like literally you put your brain inside the muscle that you're working, and it's unlike any experience that
well,
I've
it's just
had.
like the law of attraction. You can focus on things and attract things. Like your mind is way more powerful than people think it is. It's an
But like
unbelievable.
even in there's a lot of people have trouble with the mind muscle connection in their back and different muscles in their back because you can't see your back. And
Yep.
so because you can't see it, it's hard to, kind of connect with it. And cannabis definitely helps with that.
It's a really amazing thing, and I want to preface this that it's not just the terps that give you all of these effects. It's a combination of everything combined. Like this, like that's why if like you were just take you could buy terpenes that oils that you can consume and add them to things, and they'll still give you effects, but not the same way that as if you were smoking it with um, all of the other cannabinoids and all of the other
Mm-hmm.
terpenes combined. There's something special in that combustion that really gives you a different effect um, with the plant. But there's so many terpenes, and so those are my three favorite. But another really good one is linalool. Linalool you're gonna find in lavender and birch bark. That's where you're gonna find it. So when you think about it, people put lavender on their pillows or they put lavender,
Yes.
to give you that stress relief, that
Mm-hmm.
de-stress feeling, that like just woosah kind of effect. That's what linalool is going to do, and you're going to find that all the time. Pinene is one of the most common terpenes that you'll find in the entire world. Like when you go out into into nature and you smell those fresh pine trees,
Mm-hmm.
that's from the
And then
pine nut.
what effect does that have when it's in cannabis?
It's actually going to help with alertness and memory retention.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be,
So
obviously,
I'd like a strain high in pinene and
yeah.
linolene.
You'll. It's very very tough to find a dominant pinene flower. Like not many flowers have a pinene as the
I do
dominant
remember though
terpene.
when I was a kid smelling it and being like, if it smells like pine trees, then it's really, really good. Because I remember like getting like really good batches here or there, and I was like, wow, and it smelled like just like pine trees, and
Yep.
I
So
knew that
yeah,
I
you'll
really liked
you'll
it.
you'll really like the ones that smell like pine sol. Like it
Yeah,
just smells like lemony pine trees.
yeah,
Those will be your favorites, and your body will probably attract to those a lot. When you smell them, you're like, oh, this is awesome. I want some of
yeah.
this, because you really like that.
But now
Well, pine.
you also were saying that you can inject terpenes. Not, I'm not saying like
Yeah,
inject into your veins. I'm
there's
saying,
consumable terpene oils. Like you can buy
well,
terpene
no.
oils.
When you said inject, like, do they add? Can they add additional terpenes to cannabis
Just
as
like
it's
you add,
growing?
just like no, not as it's growing, but like just like you would add wax to your
Yeah, I
blunt or
got you.
something like that, you add a little bit more terpenes. Um, you could do that. I think it's not necessary. I'd rather just get what God created and get the plant as
Got
is.
you.
But you can definitely do that. It's just the same. It would be the same thing as eating mangoes before you smoke. It'd be the same concept. It's just your concentrated terpene oils. There's terpene, or you could even get essential oils and put them out there and be smelling them while you're smoking. That'll probably have the same effect as eating mangoes. Um, then you have terpylene, which to me gives me a headache. It's going to be very citrusy. Um,
But what's it for?
I couldn't. I
What's it called? Terpylene?
terpylene. Yep. So terpylene, I usually stay away from.
They have some funky names, man.
There's asamine. There's so many, dude. There's so many.
You're so
Um,
mean. Is that what you said?
no, there's so many.
No, you said ah so mean.
Oh, asamine. Yeah,
I was like,
asamine.
oh, you're so mean.
Asamine.
Yeah,
Let's
you're
see
a
real
nice
quick.
guy.
Um, it's got a woody aroma, woody citrus aroma, and moderately sedative. It's in sage, lilac, rosemary, um, and it makes you a little sleepy. Um, and there's osamine. There's so many different terpenes in plants, but I usually like that's the great journey of smoking weed, and it's really finding the strain and the terpene profile that fits best for you. Because
Yeah.
I'm a veteran smoker. I smoke all the time, and there's times where I smoke weed and I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to be high. I don't like this high. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
paranoid.
absolutely.
I'm anxious.
But
I'm
I
like,
will tell
fuck
you,
this.
I don't. It's not definitely not just due to terpenes or the amount of THC or whatever. So another really huge factor is what you did or did not put into your body leading up to your experience. So is your blood sugar really low? Have you not eaten in a while? Are you hungover? Are you, whatever? But like if you haven't eaten and I get like I'm fucking hangry or whatever it is, factors I think can play into the experience as well, is what I'm saying.
Oh, without a doubt, your diet, and people don't realize how much your diet and what you consume.
Caffeine, like
Yeah,
what
and I'm
caffeine did you have
as
that?
I'm
Yeah,
as
you
I'm putting a bang down.
right. Yeah, it's like, oh, I was really freaked out after I smoked that. Oh, it wasn't the two double espressos that I had in the in the diet pills or
Yeah, the diuretic pills. Yeah, no, it's really something. It's a journey that everybody has to go on, and I think anybody who's had a bad experience with marijuana or they're not experienced enough, they need to really go on that journey themselves, and they need to find out which profiles work best for them, because
Yeah.
you will find out very quickly that, because we don't have, like we talked about last week, we don't have an endocannabinoid system in our body for no reason. Like, we don't have receptors for these things that are in this plant for
Yeah.
no reason. We were given them for a reason, so we should be consuming these cannabinoids. You may not necessarily need to smoke them. And to my point earlier, new people that are going to dispensaries and you don't want to smoke, if that's the route that you want to go, don't take edibles. Go to the vapes, go to the disposables, and go to get the 510 threads, or my favorite out here are the Aero Pros. You get those vapes, and you can really tailor your smoke and really kind of find that level that you want to be at. Whereas edibles, once you consume them, you're on the ride, as long as the ride is.
Yeah, I feel
um,
like vapes are more strictly from a high perspective, like you're saying. You know what I mean? Like you don't get the medicinal effects from the vape like you do from the flower.
you Some people do. I personally do not. The Like, for me, even dabs, like, I love dabs. I fucking love just
Yeah.
hitting a fat slug. I love it. It's like, I call hot pockets of weed like instant stoned. Like, it's like you're here, and then you're all of a sudden you're here. You're on
Yeah.
cloud fucking nine. There's so
But it just doesn't feel right. I don't know. It
it's
just you don't get that. If your
so
stomach's bothering you and
yes,
you rip a dab, it's not helping.
no,
You're
no,
just gonna
that's
be really fucking stoned with an upset
well,
stomach.
well, that's where I get the
Oh, there I go. I
recreation.
cursed. Put a
I
dollar in
did
there.
like 6 times. I know I already got like $10 in there just in this today's episode.
Yeah.
Um, but it's I lost what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so with the flower, it really gives me that medicinal value with my stomach. I
Hmm.
I use dabs for the recreational weed smoke. Like,
I got you.
that's like when I just want to be nice and stoned and feel good. I'll do some dabs. If I would never wake up in the morning and just rip dabs, just to rip dabs for my stomach, because it wouldn't give me the effects that I'm looking for. The flower does vapes. They're kind of, for me, being a veteran smoker, and as much as I smoke, like, some vapes can get me nice and stoned and feel good, but most of them are kind of just to keep me going throughout the day.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I'm out at the store. Let me just take a quick rip of my vape, keep my high going. But they don't really get me. Like, I can't just sit here, and I'd have to take mad hits of the vape. But for the average person who doesn't
Yeah,
smoke
no,
much,
that's not enjoyable.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's
But for the
gross.
average, but what I'm saying is for the average smoker, for someone who doesn't smoke, who's not experienced, that's the best way to start, in my opinion, because it's going to be
Yeah.
absorbed through your saliva and you're going to be able to take one hit, wait 10, 15 minutes, see how you feel. Then if you're not feeling anything, take another hit, wait 10, 15
Hmm.
minutes, see how you feel. If not, take a third hit, 10, 15 minutes.
Or they
You
do
should be
have
chilling.
those the flower vaporizers too, like the portable ones. They're
Oh well, shout out. Did you have you seen the Megatoke XL? Have you seen this? And
no,
oh man,
I'm not up on all the gadgets. I have,
oh so wait till we start
some that
doing
I'm into, but
wait till we start doing some product reviews. This is one of my favorite products
we
I
gotta
have
like
ever.
both get the product,
Yeah, dude.
and
No,
then do it at the
well,
same time.
so the Megatoke is pricey, but it is
Is it like a G3
I don't know what a G. Oh,
or a
it's a little.
PAX
So
some?
the PAX is ass. The PAX
Yeah.
is garbage. So PAX actually makes their own vapes, and they're so I've noticed the vapes in Vegas are ass. The vapes out in Cali are way better than the vapes in Vegas. So we're kind of beat.com out here.
Yeah.
But for the most part, vapes I'm not a big fan of. But for the newer smoker, you definitely should start there. If you don't want to smoke, if you don't want to actually smoke flower or hit a bong rip or smoke a joint, start with the vape. Don't start with the edible. Um, but again, I lost my train of thought.
Now, well, we were talking about the flower vape, and then you
Oh,
said it's much better out in Cali.
so the flower vape. Wait till we start doing some product reviews. I'm gonna review this product. Me and Anthony are gonna do a review on it. It's called the Megatoke XL. This thing, go to their Instagram. Shout out to Megatoke XL. Because I see this product everywhere. I've tried it a few times. It is a cannon. This thing
All right, I'm
is
gonna check this out.
so it has there's the Megatoke XL and then there's the Dabatoke. And the Dabatoke is what I really want because the Dabatoke it has it's a double barrel chamber, like a double barrel shotgun. One's for concentrate.
One
And
word or two words?
what? Go to Instagram and go to
Uh,
Megatoke Bites, I think is their IG. Shout out to them.
I don't even have my phone over here.
Megatoke and man, dude, they make a phenomenal vaporizing product. You literally just the clouds that come out of this thing, the hits that you get. It's not like one of those vapes where you're sitting there, you're like trying to suck down this thing to get a little hit. This thing rips. And you could just pack some flour in there, and you could do the dabatoke, so you can double. You could get a little concentrate and flour at the same time. If
Whoa.
you see it,
Yeah, it's nice, dude. It's it's very affordable, James. Very affordable. You pick the best products.
yeah, dude, I know.
289.99 on sale from 399.99.
Yeah, no, they're not cheap products, dude. They're not. They're
Silver or gun blue.
but
Whoa.
they so their Instagram is Megatoke BYYETS. Um
Oh
Megatoke
wow,
bites.
they have a few products.
Yeah, they have a couple.
Oh, here, this is what you're talking about. The Dabbit, dude. Dabbitoke is 6 hundo.
Is it really? I think
Yeah,
it used
bro,
to
it's
be 400.
599. Well,
Jeez.
according to this, it used to be 1,000.
Jeez.
Jeez Louise.
But nah, I'll tell you right now, dude, they are worth every penny. Like they have a little
Really?
yeah, they have a little attachment that you could that you could use to stick in your bong, and just put the flower in there and you could vape through your bong. Like it's awesome, dude. I'm a huge fan of what they're doing over there. Shout out to them. Hopefully one day we could do some work together. Um, but man, that's a great product.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
looks
get
pretty cool. I mean,
I'm gonna get my hands on one pretty soon. And man, whew, I've smoked them before. They're phenomenal. It's really good. Wait till you go to their Instagram and you're like, get the fuck out of here. You could do this. What? And
yeah,
they're
I gotta check it out.
it's an awesome product. Great smoking vaporizer. Um, but that one's going to give you a nice heady hit. Like you're going to get a big hit out of that thing. You're not like, it's not like a regular vape that you're just going to get a tiny hit out of. This thing is going to it's a bazooka cannon. It's unbelievable. It's I've never seen a vape do what this vape does.
Really?
um oh yeah, dude.
That's a
It's a
rousing endorsement, I gotta say.
no, I cannot say anything better about them. And I haven't smoked it on a regular basis, so I can't say that it's durable or anything like that. But as
Easy to
far as
clean. Do you know
oh,
about
very
that or no?
very easy to clean. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that's the
that's huge.
one of the first questions that I asked. I was like, "Is this?" They're like, "Yeah, you take it right apart." Um, there's a lot of really good gadgets for smoking that are out there,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do a ton of reviews on these products. Like I'm a big fan of the Puffco Peak for dabs. If you haven't tried that, did you try that when I was home at Nick's wedding? I brought it to Nick's wedding.
N-
That little
No, that's why I tried your Arrow at his wedding.
oh,
The
I
Air
brought
Pro.
yeah, I brought the Peak. We're in
There was so
Mike's.
much going on all over the
Yeah, I know,
place there.
dude. It was crazy. Um,
Yeah,
but the
that was a
Puffco,
great wedding.
I cannot say enough good things about the Puffco Peak. Um,
What
that
is
pro
it?
that product
Is that
is,
your like e-nail?
yeah, it's like my It's like a portable dab rig. Um, and what I love about it, because the reason why I want to bring it up is because we talk so heavily about terps today, and the importance of that. And when you smoke, I don't know about you, I really enjoy the different flavors that I get when I smoke,
I do too,
especially with
but
dabs and concentrates, because you could really, if you heat it properly, you could really taste it, because those terps
yeah,
have different boiling points. They all have different boiling points, and they'll hit differently. So I really enjoy, like I'm like a connoisseur where I'm like sitting there, I'm like, oh, I get these tastes.
sommelier.
Yeah. So you try to pick out the tastes and smells that you get in the bud when you're smoking it.
I have a difficult time making the connection. Sometimes my brain doesn't work that way as well as I would like it to.
Well, you
With
could, but
certain flavors, I can, but then like when
you
I
could
see,
practice that. Like my nose is
yeah,
so fucked up, dude. I can't. Dollar Jar. My
yeah,
nose is so broken from fighting. I can't smell anything. Like, look at this big schnoz. I can't smell anything. Like, unless it's like right up next to my nose, and I'm really taking a good whiff, and it's a very potent smell. I can't smell it. Like, it's very difficult.
Mm.
So, for me, it's more of the taste that I get, because it's really tough to really pick out those distinct smells in the bud. It's really just kind of like one strong smell when I put it right up to my nose. Um, so you got to really focus on what you're smoking, like, and you can't use those. Like, it's easier with a J.
I'm
You
like
know.
disappearing over here. Look at this.
Yep.
This with
It's it's
two. I'm two face.
it's the natural light. This guy over here, but the man, I'm losing it today. I smoked too much bud. Um, I smoked a fat bowl before we went on.
You were talking about the terp profiles that you get from the your portable rig, your puff.
Oh, so the Puffco Peak, I really enjoy for dabs. One, it fits in your cup holder. It can go everywhere with you. You can get a travel glass for it where it has a twist off cap, so you can keep water in at all times. It has a little satchel, and I
Yeah.
literally bring this thing on with me on hikes, because when I'm on hikes, like, I do like the medicinal value of flower, and I do love smoking a J, but I also like being nice and stoned when I'm on a nice hike, like
Hmm.
enjoying nature. So I like to bring my dab rig, my little Puffco Peak, with me, and just rip a couple dabs. The one downside about the Peak is that you cannot rip fat slugs. I haven't tried the version 2, Peak the 2.0. I heard
Fat slugs.
yeah, you can't just like take a gram dab and throw it in the Peak. Like, some people are reckless like that, and they want to just
What?
yeah, yeah, dude.
At
It's crazy.
once?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the time. All the time. My boy Will is a maniac. He does like gram and a half dabs. I'm like, yo, you're a savage. Like, you're an animal. Like, it's crazy. Um, but the Peak, what I like about it is you don't need a huge dab. But what I love the most about it is you get all of the terps. You get to taste all of them. It's so good. It's so good for flavor. And you really get to enjoy the dab, and you get nice milky fat dabs, and you can really control the temperature it's on. It's not a torch, or even a regular e-nail. And the best
So
thing about it is,
what do you do? You charge to use USB to charge?
yeah, it charges, and you get lasts me a while, like a lot of hits,
Wow, that's
and
cool.
and then you bring it. and you can bring it anywhere with you. It literally fits in your cup holder, like right in your car. Like you're just going. I wish I had it on the cross country trip, because on the cross country trip we drove here, I had my Pulse double glass rig with an e-nail attached to it, and we had the e-nail plugged, and we bought one of those outlet things that you put the plugs
Mm-hmm.
in the car, and we're driving all throughout the country with this e-nail plugged in, ripping out of this huge Pulse double glass. um just having a good time on the cross country trip. But the Puffco Peak, I can't. Those two products are probably my favorite two products in the cannabis industry. My favorite two gadgets, at least I should say.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a ton of reviews on all these products. We're gonna do reviews and grind. Like, we have a lot of in-depth things that we're gonna do. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited to be doing this content.
Yeah. It's fun to talk about
It's a blast.
light material.
Very light, and
Yeah.
I can't speak for Anthony, but I'm pretty sure I'm incorrect in saying this is one of my biggest passions, and I think he feels the same way.
Yeah. I think it can help a lot of people.
And this is something that we're both very into, and this is one of the reasons why I moved out to Las Vegas, was to get into this industry. And if this is how we got to do it, this is how we got to do it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot of content planned for you guys, and a lot of big things coming. So look out for some new content, some new episodes. We're still working on our new intros. It's going to be fun. We got to come up with a new cool sign off for this channel. Because we can't. My man Seth VBDC.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking of that.
Shout out to him. Still smoke him if you got him. That guy's a legend. I got his shirt in the mail. If you want some cool smoke him, if you got him merch, he's gonna come on the show and talk some all things cannabis.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be nice.
He's major in the reggae music scene, so that's a huge pot soaking community is the reggae music scene. And summertime, going to see some good reggae concerts, nothing beats it. Big fan of Seth. His music is unbelievable. Go look
he's
on
very
shop.
talented.
Yeah, very
He's
talented reggae artist. Go to Spotify and all major music platforms and check out VBDC and search for that, and you'll check out his reggae music. Tell him James and Ant from Weed People sent you. But until next time, guys, we're gonna sign off. We really appreciate you guys listening to us.
Yeah.
And look forward to doing this some more. So
yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, hope everybody gets nice and stoned and has a great day.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Oh, shit! A weed! Oh! No cigar? No! Fuck, bitch! Got blunt? Got weed? Man, that shit smell good as hell, dog. I'm Jamal.
Peace, Silas. So you trying to get something to bring them nerves down too, huh, bro?
Yeah, I figured if I study high, take the test high, get high scores. Right?
Right.
Right.